Hello, this is the Silver Watchman, and welcome back to Jack and Jill. Now, this is episode number 8. Now, in the last episode, we were just kind of all over the mental map there. But some good points were made. Actually, they were all good points, but they were just kind of all over the place, so yeah. Oh, I'm gonna go a little bit more into what depression is. Now, what depression is it's this kind of feeling of being drained constantly, where you don't have the energy to do anything. It's this constant heaviness that cannot be explained other than it is heavy. It makes you feel like everything is a burden. Another thing about depression is that there's not it in a way, you're constantly in a loop of every single one of your failures. Every single thing you do wrong is in a way it's exasperated. It's exasperated in such a way where it becomes overwhelming. It makes you, in a way, value your life less. You feel like nothing you do is good enough or will ever be good enough, and that it doesn't even matter. Some people get so overwhelmed by this that they go to suicide to try to escape it. That's an entirely other video on itself. But suicide is not an escape. It just opens the door for more suffering for those left behind, and for the person who is now eternally in damnation. The only time I'll ever say there's a waste of a life is when somebody either commits suicide or they die without God, which is, if they die because of suicide, they're pretty much dying without God. So, yeah. It's never an easy topic, even for, the best of pastors to talk about. But know this. Every time a person dies and they're not with God, God does shed a tear. Because He loves you. And depression is, some people will feel like, oh, just toughen up, you can get over this sadness. It's more than just being sad. It's this almost constant drained feeling where you just kind of feel like meh. Yeah, that's the best honest word I have for what it feels like. It's not a fun feeling, Some people are like, oh, they joke around about it, and it makes it harder to find the joy in things. It makes you look at everything in a kind of glass half empty kind of way. And this is a very brief kind of look into what depression is. Many people try to get away from it in many different ways. Drugs, more drugs, alcohol, multiple intercoursal partners, So it makes you feel like nothing matters. And once you're in that loop, it's very, very difficult to get out of that loop, because it's a loop. It's like a perfect circle of just self agony that is either very loud or very quiet, depending on the person. And it makes you just feel ashamed of even the most basic things that make you happy. It makes you feel alone. And some people, when they have this, it can make them more aggressive, because they want to be understood. They want to be felt. They want to reach out and touch somebody. But no matter what they do, that feeling never goes away. Unless, there's medication, but that's like putting a Band-Aid on a growing crack. God describes our bodies as temples. Depression is part of having a human body for some people. So it's like a growing crack. And what happens when you have a crack in a building? You start at the base of the crack, and you start to seal it with, a type of material that can bond the two together. But that crack is there. The scars of it are still there. And that's what medication does. But the Holy Spirit does something far, far different. And this is the amazing part. With the Holy Spirit, what it does is it's part of God. So it not only sees the crack and seals the crack, but it actually mends the crack. Like if you get a cut in your hand, and then it just heals like there was no cut. That's the same thing. That's kind of what the Holy Spirit does. It heals the wound of depression. And sometimes depression, it happens without, a particular cause. That's just an infirmity that most people deal with. Some people, not most. But it can be overwhelming, and when you have somebody constantly asking you, hey, are you feeling good? Are you feeling good? It makes you more self-conscious about it. Just know that when you're really depressed, you want two things: to be alone and not to be alone. But what you really want is to be rescued. And no human can do that. That's up to God. And you need God's help for that. Thank you for this episode, for just sitting here. This is truly an honor, and glory be to God. Thank you for sitting through this. This was a very brief description of what depression is, but I hope this kind of helps you understand it a little better. And this is a completely from experience, kind of. Yeah. Thank you. Glory be to God, and blessings be upon you. And this is the Silver Watchman, signing out.